Okay, so I saw this on Twitter. They said, which of these artists do you think has the best discography? So for me, I'm gonna give it to Beyonce because I feel like Beyonce has no bad albums. I'm Such a Fierce, the Hive agrees, it's her worst album, but it's not a bad album. It's not a bad album. And so, I mean, we got a lot of highlights with Renaissance, with stuff like Plastic Off the Sofa, Virgo's Groove, and then Alien Superstar, I'm That Girl, America Has a Problem, and that was a really strong album. Cowboy Carter, Bodyguard is still my song of the year at the moment. American Requiem was certainly a highlight for me on the album. I still really like Texas Hold'em as well. So there was a lot on there. Lemonade is a bona fide classic at this point. Yeah, I mean, Beyonce's taking the cake. And B-Day. I can't forget B-Day. I love that album. And so, yeah, if I have to give a number 2, I would probably give it to Taylor Swift because I think she has a lot of strong albums. Reputation, I don't know why y'all go up for that album. And it's not bad, it's just a disappointment in comparison to everything else. Same thing with Tortured Poets Department. Not the worst thing I've ever heard, but I have not really revisited the album. Now I would consider myself, a big Taylor fan, and so I just didn't really jive with that album. But I mean, we had a lot of highlights in 1989 with Blank Space, Shake It Off, which y'all hate for some reason, but I always loved. I Know Places is a really underrated moment. Clean, I mean, the album had hit after hit after hit. Folklore, The One, A Cardigan, Last Great American Dynasty, Invisible Stream, My Tears, Ricochet. Amazing album. Evermore is underrated with stuff like Cowboy Like Me. Midnights I thought was a good album. Y'all actually did too much on it in my opinion. With Karma, You're on Your Own Kid, Sweet Nothing. Red is an incredible album, obviously, and definitely a fan favorite. Beginning and is probably my favorite Taylor Swift song. And then Starlight was incredible. Treacherous, Sad, Beautiful, Tragic is one that really grew on me as well. So I like most of Taylor's stuff. Pop, alternative, country. She has a good album in every genre. Most of her stuff is really good. Pushing out my top 3, I would probably give it to Ariana Grande. I like all of her albums, and Eternal Sunshine has been one I've been playing a lot recently, especially with stuff like The Boy Is Mine, Supernatural. I think Sweetener's her best album with stuff like Every Time, Get Well Soon. The vocal layering on there was absolutely incredible. Borderline, I feel like, is supremely underrated on that album. So no bad albums. Miley Cyrus' discography, not very strong, I'll be honest with you. Endless Summer Vacation was definitely a disappointment. Plastic Hearts I think is her best album, but her albums aren't really consistent for me. Katy Perry, I've never listened to a Katy Perry album. I don't really intend to start now, and I might listen to Teenage Dream at some point to see if it's overrated or not. We'll see, but I haven't listened to Katy Perry albums, so I can't really throw her in the ring with this. But the street said her album tracks sounded like rejected singles, so I believe it, but I haven't listened to her. Rihanna, I said this, but in my opinion, Rihanna is the definition of being carried by the single for the most part. She has a few good albums. Loud was a great album. Anti as well. I liked Talk That Talk. I need to re-listen to Good Girl Gone Bad. And then she has stuff that, I don't really get the hype for. I don't know why some people really like Unapologetic. That's one of her worst albums. Rated R, I call it Overrated R because the album is so overrated. I don't understand what you guys see in it. Everybody doesn't really care about the first 2. And so, yeah, Rihanna only has like 4 good albums in my opinion. And so, she has, some moments where I really like the album tracks, like Get It Over With, for example. So I just kind of skim. I found album tracks that I like, but she's not really an albums artist to me. Lady Gaga, I haven't finished her discography, but what I've heard out of it, Joanne, I didn't really like the album. I thought it was boring, and I really liked Chromatica. Those are the only albums I've heard by her, so I can't really give a fair assessment on Lady Gaga. Nicki, I haven't heard her entire discography. Only album I heard was The Pink Print. So yeah, that is going to be it. That's going to be my top 3, but let me know who you guys think has the best discography down below in the comments. Plead your case, give me your top 3, give me your favorite songs, and let's continue that conversation.